My name is Cooper, and I'm a female Pomeranian. I was born in 1842 in the Maima clan in Japan. Just like any other Pomeranian, I suffer a number of genetic diseases that result in, amongst other issues, a fragile constitution, a particular taste of uncontrollable aggressivity, an illusion of grandeur that makes me want to attack creatures many times my size, and a disproportionately loud and nerve-wracking high-pitched bark. For more about those, please refer to my text in the April 2020 Mass, or for a version in French, the issue 16 of Mon Lapin Quotidien, or Cléa Chopin's book Rhododendron Normal, in which I was a guest. For some unexplainable reasons, my extreme cuteness possibly being a prominent factor, other mammals, and humans in particular, get very attached to me. Shortly after my birth, one of the Nosebingers adopted me, and I became a member of the Nosebingers myself. The Nosebingers were a secret political and artistic organization which was fighting injustice. Soon, it became clear that the aforementioned illusion of grandeur, due to a genetic disease, would actually turn out to be an advantage in fighting injustice. A properly trained fearless warrior that looks vulnerable is a dangerous opponent. Consequently, at age 1, I was sent to southern China to learn new martial techniques, as Japanese dojos were not accepting dogs at that time, and I became the only little dog in the world to master the ancient art of the saber. There has been a couple of bigger dogs who had been successfully trained in the past, but that's another story. My tiny size, due to selective breeding, you can read about in my text in the April 2020 Mass, or for a version in French, the issue 16 of Mon Lapin Quotidien, or Cléa Chopin's book Rhododendron Normal, in which I was a guest. And my 4 legs proved to be real assets, as I was a target too minuscule to be easily hit and an unpredictable mover. Due to my fragile constitution, we Pomeranians suffer from several genetic diseases. My training was focused mostly on impeccable techniques, extreme precision, and sneaky feints. Another genetic disease of us Pomeranians, I should mention if I have not done so yet, is an uncontrollable aggressivity, which, when well channeled, was another great asset in situations of combat, together with an illusion of grandeur I may or may not have mentioned earlier, which allowed me to attack the largest opponents there were with total confidence. My undersized Pomeranian brain is a source of quick memory loss for which I demand to be forgiven. In early 1844, I received a secret message from the other Nosebingers informing me of their plot to render harmless the evil Lord Matsudaira Naritsugu of Akashi. I went back to Japan as quickly as I could and reunited with my 12 friends, all females of different species of mammals, magical and regular alike. We walked through the mountains until Ochiai, where we had planned to trap Naritsugu and his 70 soldiers. Little did we know we would actually be facing more than 200 of them, heavily equipped with modern weaponry known as firearms, against which we only had our 13 swords and a bit of magic. In China I had been dreaming of a more joyful reunion with my dear fellow bringers of noise. But there we were, on our mission to clear Japan from its most evil lord ever, before he would access the highest ranks of power, and there was no time for emotions. General rule before battle starts: you must first demoralize the enemy. My high-pitched bark was nerve-wracking because of genes. As the army was approaching Ochiai, I found a spot in the tower that allowed me to bark in different directions, playing around with different echoes, pretending to be 100 dogs, spreading fear and rampant panic in Naritsugu's army, or to put it simply, I racked their nerves. Then, the army and we engaged in battle. It's hard to describe a battle. It's fast, it's dirty, it's unethical. Do not believe what you see in films. There is no such thing as endless exchanges with sabers hitting each other repeatedly. A saber doesn't go much for other sabers. It goes for flesh, bones, and guts. During my training in China, I would cut through rolled up wicker rugs, and sometimes dead pigs that were left out from a bad market day. But none of these were wearing an armor. Cutting through an armored soldier is like slicing a vegan hamburger. One layer of rock-hard bread, one layer of tofu, another layer of rock-hard bread. Due to my tiny size, did I mention I was tiny due to selective breeding? And my saber that was 4 times my size, I would mostly cut off legs and pierce groins. My 2 favorite techniques were the ghost saber and the hyena feint. The ghost saber consists of pretending you are going to block your opponent's attack, as long as they attack with a sword, not a rifle, with your own saber. But then, just when the sabers are going to be in contact, you let yours drop towards the back, take a quick step forward and swing your saber back towards the front to cut the opponent in half, while their own saber is already far behind you. In a dojo, it's beautiful, refined, and totally silent. On the battlefield, it's just another dirty trick for you to be the one standing at the end. The hyena feint is much less classy. Whatever weapon you are facing, except against firearms, refuse to engage by taking a step backward. The opponent will likely take a step forward. Repeat the operation 2 or 3 times. The opponent will surely loosen their guard at least a tiny bit when following you, as they'll think you are scared, and they'll probably be slightly pissed off that you don't engage. When the guard is down for less than a second at their 3rd or 4th step forward, take a large step forward yourself and pierce them. Now, what about all the soldiers who had firearms? Very early in the battle I realized I was maneuvering in a pool of blood and a bit of mud. It was hardly a pond for the bigger mammals, but in my case, it was covering the whole lower half of my body. I would use this to my advantage. I could easily hide under the surface with just my snoot and my bulging yet irresistibly cute eyes over the surface, like a pocket hippopotamus waiting to attack. Then, with one impeccable precise move of my saber, there'd be one less functioning groin in Naritsugu's army. They would not even have time to shoot a single bullet. At some point, I did receive a random bullet, but it had not been aimed at me. It reached my front leg and ripped it off with, luckily enough, instant cauterization from the burn of the bullet, by which I mean I was bleeding, but not enough to die quickly. Also, it was just a leg, a few centimeters higher, and it would have resulted in a stupid death, even for war standards. I consoled myself, thinking this bullet was aimed at a comrade of mine, and it had not killed her. 3 legs, even when one is holding a saber, is still enough for a dog to jump around. You don't take into account the excruciating pain in this context. There is no time. Just like there is no time to do something about the sweat dripping in your eyes. Or is it blood, the enemies, and your comrades alike? At some point, in order to reach Naritsugu's horse's belly, which was the way I found to make him and all these stupid humans fall down at reach of my saber, I had to first bounce off a lying dead body. As I was taking off from the latter, I realized it was a comrade's, who, in the morning, had been scratching my belly. So far, I had been of the opinion there was no room for emotions in a battle, but I could feel my tears dripping amongst the thicker drops of blood and mud from the aforementioned pond that were now sticking in my fur. I had never beaten any creature or thing that hard. Sorry, dear innocent horse, slave of madmen, fellow mammal, and respectable brother. I hurt you, but you did not suffer that much. You reared up and Naritsugu was now floundering in the pond. You left quietly. This battle was not your business indeed. At that point, most of my comrades were dead. Only 4 of them were still fighting against Naritsugu's strongest men at some distance. Luckily for me, this pretentious idiot had never bothered learning how to hold a firearm. His first lieutenant arrived instantly and jumped off his horse as he could not reach me from up there. This guy was serious business, obviously. I hid under the surface of the blood pool. It was so thick that he could not even see my shadow. He tried to hit me with his spear, but of course I was not where I had dived anymore. He was trying to see the blood move. Each second was an eternity. Naritsugu was repeating frantically, "I want to go to Sushi Tunisi! I want to go to Sushi Tunisi! while being unable to find the strength to get up. He shat his kimono at that moment, and we could see the light beige color of the precious fabric getting darker along the curves that the liquid proof was drawing all the way down the back of his thighs. He was shitting and farting loudly while crying and repeating, "I want to go to Sushi Tunisi." The lieutenant asked him very cordially, according to the etiquette, to refrain from more noisy bowel movements so that he could hear me move for lack of being able to see me. Just as he was finishing expressing his request, my saber had entered his anus and came out of his belly. He was still alive, but unable to move. I thought that if I had pulled out the saber at this moment, he might have gathered the strength to pierce me with his spear. Therefore, I held my saber with my one remaining front leg, standing on the back too. His request had been left unheard, as Naritsugu was still farting and shitting. There were now brownish bubbles popping out his rear. Suddenly, the lieutenant dropped his spear, and his body followed shortly as he eventually forgot all sense of etiquette and called his master a Bakayaro, which translates roughly as stupid man. Then, I just dropped Naritsugu's head off. I was exhausted. My heart was beating too quickly, and as I could see my 4 remaining sisters defeating the last man in the distance, I tried to call for their assistance. But as I opened my mouth, I died of a heart attack due to my fragile constitution. My bodily fluids ran out of me with my life, and my piecemeal told the story you just read to some passing dog, an innocent one, who translated it for my sisters while they were mourning my cute and furry, yet dead 3-legged body. I was 2 years old.